All right, you're looking for work online, you get a hit, you get hired. So how do you lose money? You buy something online, pay the person, and you get nothing. What do you do now? If you are into scams, this is the podcast for you. I'm Joe Ducey. Joe Knows Better podcast. We're helping businesses and consumers get it right. And again, we've got all the people here, not all of them, the important people here, not all of them, some of the most important people here at the Better Business Bureau that deal with scams all the time, with Scamtracker and all those things. I want to get into some of the biggest scams hitting us right now in our area and actually around the country. Joining me is Michelle Morin, Jasmine Hill, Stephanie Tuttle from the Better Business Bureau here in Phoenix, and from the San Diego campus, Sophie Simpson. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. So you guys know a lot about this. You know, I did this in my past life, and I'm fascinated with scams, and we're still trying to do these things. But you guys look at this stuff every day, right? So first of all, what is Scamtracker, and what can people do if they, I guess there are two things, what they should do to see if it is a scam and what they should do if they are scammed, correct?
Yes.
Is that what they do? And they can report that through Scamtracker?
Yeah, so when you go on to Scamtracker, if you input your information, it'll let you know what scams are in your area as well.
Okay.
What we try to do in regards to Scamtracker is not put any legitimate business in there. So if there's anything we have actual information on, we wouldn't input it into Scamtracker.
Okay, so Scamtracker is just out-and-out scams.
Yes.
Just so you don't get the money, you pay through Cash App, don't get anything. If it's a legitimate business, it might be considered something else that you guys might try to mediate or look into a little bit.
The scam is not linked to a legitimate business.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So that you could report that, you could look for scams ahead of time. Is it done by region? Can you look at Scamtracker by our area? Maybe Sophie knows about that. I guess I think you can.
Yeah.
Right?
So on BBB Scamtracker, you can filter it to, region, by national, international. You can really use, whatever filter that you would like to, ensure that, you're protecting yourself,
okay,
at all costs, saying if something's in your area.
Okay. And this is what people should be doing before they actually bite on something. I mean, when they get that phone call, when they get the link before that, hey, listen, maybe look online, see if there's something similar that's happened. They could prevent them from having a problem later. Now, they get to Scamtracker through bbb.org?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So last I looked, I think I looked today, and nationally it looked like there were about 12,000 live scams right now going on. I mean, live. I think it was about 12 to 16,000. That must be all the time. I mean, more than 10,000 scams going on. Let's look at some of the biggest things hitting people right now. I don't know who wants to go first. Sophie, do you want to hit on that, what you guys are seeing in this area?
Yeah, absolutely. So the number one scam in the past, I would say 6 months or so, that we've seen in our service area are going to be the online purchase scams. So whether these are, scammers pretending to be businesses that have already, been closed, or making like a counterfeit mock website, asking for consumers' information, really huge discounts on these products. Individuals, victims, they'll purchase these things online and get a fake tracking number, and unfortunately nothing's delivered at the end of the day. That's the most common online purchase scam that we'll see.
All right.
And unfortunately, it looks like $413,000 have been reported lost to our BBB for these scams.
Oh my gosh. Let's go over a couple. I don't know if some of you guys have this. I know I have one here, online purchases. Example of that. This person wrote into the Better Business Bureau, I ordered on October 31st, 2 orders. Company said it was delivered on November 25th. I never received the orders. So they lost $13,886.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I mean, and basically they just took this company, apparently just went out of business and didn't do anything. Anybody else have examples?
I know there's 2 on here that are also listed, one for Bed Bath & Beyond and also for Birkenstock.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be making online purchases, make sure you look at that web address and make sure everything is spelled adequately and correctly.
Oh.
Because then they'll say, we may not be the real Birkenstock, but we can't get you your money back either because we're a smaller business. So that's what took place there. And the one for Bed Bath & Beyond, it was also, an alternative website, but they do mention like there were numerous misspellings and the payment center was in Asia.
Oh, okay.
I've seen some where everything is spelled correctly, good verbiage, but everything is significantly marked below actual market value price.
Okay.
So they entice people to think that they're getting this phenomenal deal, just insane discount prices, and consumer gives them the money thinking that, oh, I just got a score, never gets it. So if it's too good to be true, pay attention to that. If it's marked significantly below what the normal market value is, it's a red flag.
Have you ever, were you talking about an online situation where you got scammed? Was that it?
No, I had a online scam with renting, but I do see a lot on our social media where like TikTok or Facebook, they will pay extra money for advertisements, and they will say, we have all these things that are marked down, we have all these things, or they'll try to get the feelings of the consumer where they say, my business is shutting down, I need you to please like buy our merchandise because we're going out of business, we need the extra income, stuff like that, and then you end up with nothing. That happens constantly on social media.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't like, do you guys, I'm not, okay, I'm older, all right? But I don't use social media that much to buy things. Is that just the way it happens now? Is that what most people are doing?
They
Facebook
are,
Marketplace even? And
but lots of red flags, like Stephanie was mentioning.
Yeah.
There's not, a lot of those companies aren't going to have, posted mailing address, email addresses. A lot of TikTok shops are overseas. So it's usually a scam, especially if you have no recourse or if you paid with Cash App or not a bank, no refund for you.
That's the thing right here. So I think one of the big things to avoid is paying with a Cash App, right? And of course we can get into the other scams about, if you're paying with a gift card or something, that's also kind of
Huge
that's
red
always
flag.
sketchy,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Here's another one that online. This is a company selling herbal teas useful in the treatment of cancer. So this is sad. This person wanted this. I placed an order on this for $325. I got a confirmation immediately. They received my money. Didn't hear another word. What can people do if there's a business that doesn't give them what they should be getting? I know they could complain to the Attorney General's office. They can file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau, correct? And if it's a legitimate business,
Yeah,
yeah.
They can file a complaint. Hopefully the business responds and we can help that consumer out. But with regards to the Cash App, this is why method of payment is so important.
Yeah.
You want to be able to have the option to dispute it with your bank if it does come down to that. Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, there's really no recourse for that.
Man. Once the money's gone, it's gone.
It's gone.
You're not going to get it back. And the banks aren't in the business of helping people.
Unfortunately, we've seen that.
Yeah.
And we could go on a tangent all day about different examples that we've seen with that. Very disappointing. But certainly a BBB complaint, also Scamtracker, because then at that point, even if you're not getting the refund back, people will go and search the profile, the Scamtracker, and they'll see that this person was a victim of this particular transaction or business interaction. So then at least the light at the end of the tunnel is that hopefully you're helping someone else avoid it. But again, having that option to do a chargeback or dispute that with your bank may be the only
because you get 90 days.
Yeah.
And that's why you should use your credit portion rather than the ATM card, because it comes directly out of the bank as well. All right, let's move on to another scam here. And I know what you're going to say, Sophie, is another one, but go ahead and what's another one that you're seeing a lot of?
Another one that I've seen a lot of is employment scams.
Yep.
This has been especially on the rise within the last couple of months. Unfortunately, there's just scammers pretending to be legitimate businesses that might have like a dormant state, registration or listing, and making these fake websites and making these fake emails and reaching out to, these victims that are in a vulnerable area, within their lives, and, are looking for a job to sustain themselves. And, they get that full, they promise a high paying salary, a high paying wage, and it just all the interviews are done over like text message or by like a WhatsApp chat, or something where you can't really meet the person face to face or meet the hiring person face to face. And fake checks are sent to these individuals, asking them to deposit into their bank accounts and send them back some money in exchange. And unfortunately, a couple of days later, it's gone out of their account as a bounce check. So it's so sad.
So your good money is gone by that time that you've sent them back, because that's what they usually ask for. I've got an example here. I know you guys probably have them too.
Yeah.
This one is, I'm a hiring manager for this company. I've been assigned to conduct an interview with you for position at this place. I was hired after, this guy was then hired after the interview process. He was asked for his physical address. They sent him a package, sent a check for $3,885. Folks, if you get a check for that amount of money, any big amount, and you haven't done anything for it yet, it's a scam. It was instructed Aaron, the person instructed me to pay individuals via Cash App. That's another big red flag. So you got this check, right?
Huge red flag.
But it's a bouncy. And it's like, and you don't know it at the time, but you think you've got this in your account, and the bank isn't telling you, which is another thing I wonder about. Why does it take 2 or 3 days to find out if a freaking check is bad? You seem like automatically you would know.
Didn't you find something with a recent scam about that?
And there was another entry on Scamtracker, also employment issues, and the consumer actually got the check, but they decided to go to their bank, and their bank actually told them that the check was fake.
Oh.
Before they cashed it.
Yes.
So there is a way that it could be known. It's not like bank, we don't know for 2 or 3 days. If you go in and take proactive.
I think you would need to be proactive and ask them, hey, this is what I'm going through. Can you ensure if there's any safety measures to make sure, this is safe, this isn't going to bounce, and she didn't cash it. So.
And the part with that is, if you put that in your account and you have, say, $10,000 already, you put $3,000 in, you don't use it. It's not. It's going to appear. It's going to disappear from your account, right?
Right.
The problem is when you start using that money, and it becomes all you have, and you're buying your groceries and all this stuff, and then you start bouncing all these checks, and all this stuff's happening. So this person, Tuesday night, received an email. Okay, so got the $3,800. We know what's going to happen. I was supposed to send money to other people, and Tuesday night I received an email notification in my bank that it was negative $3,818. That was basically, and then of course Aaron's nowhere to be found. Yeah. What else have you guys seen?
Personally, actually, when I was applying to actually work at the Better Business Bureau, I got a ton of emails, tons and tons of emails from just random people, and the emails were so cryptic. They would have random names with different @ signs in the name. It wasn't like a Gmail, or it'd be a random offsite. And I got a lot of requests to do an application for a job and pay for the application, which was really weird. I kept getting asked, okay, well, we have an application fee to file for this job. And there's no reason anybody needs to be paying money to apply for a job. And then I've also noticed with a lot of scammers, they're very adamant about contacting you over and over and over. If they do not get a response that they want right away, they will push you and push you and push you and contact you.
Okay. What else, you guys? Anything about employment, or do you want to go over anything with that particular one? Let's go over, warning signs. Let's just pump them out. Warning signs, this is a scam. Employment. Okay.
They send you a check up front without any services or work being done.
Okay.
They ask you to cash it and then send a certain amount back for, your fees or your computer or something of that sort.
Okay. They interview you only by text or some app. You never see them, right? If you're going to get a job, you should be seeing the people who are hiring you, right?
Absolutely.
Is everyone one? Anything else, Sophie? I don't know if we've hit them all.
I think that's about it. Yeah. That's the main red flags that I've seen.
And that you're going to be hired right away.
Yeah, immediately after the interview, they're like, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sign up.
Another one too, real quick. So the promised wages, I think, Jasmine, you touched on that a little bit earlier, but if you're doing, and not to discredit any data entry or call center jobs, very hard work, we know that, but you're not going to get paid $45 an hour, $35 an hour to do that. So keep that in mind too. Consider, what are they saying that they're going to pay you, and what is the work you're actually performing.
Yeah, always check the benefits, because
Yeah.
a lot of their benefits don't even make sense, or the write-ups don't make sense. It could be for a data entry job, but it has a description for a marketing job.
I've
That
seen
doesn't
that.
even make sense.
You know, the funky thing now, what they're doing, and it's probably been a year or two, but they are using people's names within that business. So they're using legitimate business names. They'll send you a check with a legitimate business. They may have no idea that their name was used in a scam. You know, at some place. I remember doing, we did a story about a hardware store in Texas. You know, Bill's Hardware or something. It's like he had no idea that his name was being used on this check here. And then you look up, they'll some of these fake ones will have like a person in the company's actual name.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So then you think, okay, well, this has got to be legit. I've done my research. I've looked at the company. Michael, whatever, is a director there, you know, but it's not that way.
A lot of impersonation. So you Google that name, Google that phone number, see where it leads to. If the numbers are different, call both of them. You know,
So
see who's going to answer.
what we're saying, I guess, ultimately on all these things is you got to do a lot of work.
Yes.
It takes a lot of time. You don't just hop on things like this with online scams, with employment scams. All right, Sophie, what else are we seeing? Those are two of the biggest ones.
Another one that I am seeing that is on the rise, and that was also mentioned in our BBB 2023 Scamtracker risk report, is cryptocurrency investment and romance.
Cryptocurrency.
So these take a ton of money from, you know, these victims. And usually a lot of these victims are first approached over social media, whether it's through like a Facebook message for, you know, somebody's close friends might have, you know, friend's account might have been hacked, and, you know, this person is reaching out to let these individuals know that, hey, I made it big by investing this in, you know, this cryptocurrency market, and here's the link where you can do that too. And they set them up with like this online representative that, you know, is apparently an expert in cryptocurrency investments, and sometimes it's regarding romance and, you know, of these other things. But it, you know, these vulnerable victims that, you know, are in a place where they're wanting to reach out and make connections is, you know, it's unfortunate that they're taken advantage of during, you know, this time in their life when they're just really wanting to make a connection and, you know.
How easy is it to get set up with a cryptocurrency account? Has anybody done that?
I have not.
Yeah. So it is pretty. There's a couple of research. So if, you know, you need your bank account information, right? So you'll start out by entering in your checking and routing number within, you know, the cryptocurrency website database. And then from there, they'll ask you to purchase however many and whatever crypto assets that they're looking at. So there are a couple of loopholes to it, but these individuals are so into the cryptocurrency market that they'll provide these victims with a step-by-step, you know, instructions on how to get your information in there, how to buy this crypto, how to, you know, how to transition these funds and send it and invest it, and then they'll make it seem like they're getting money back.
So doesn't some of this
in real time
involve going? I remember hearing about this was a woman in this case had to go to an ATM and deposit something or take money out of an ATM, something involving crypto. And part of it, I think, is that crypto is like, for a lot of people, like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
They're all confused by it. I don't know what it means.
And that's what's scary is they're getting them to go and do this complicated process to steal from them. Like they're elderly people.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's part of it. Anybody, any instances of this or what's the typical way this kind of plays out?
I would say, as Sophie said, like I've seen a lot more of it starting out as like romance, like just a random text message you'll get and they'll be like, oh, I thought you were so-and-so. I've had it happen to me, but I know I'm not looking for anybody. But as you start engaging and they know more about you, then they'll start getting into, oh, you know, do you know about crypto? Are you training? Are you changing? Things of that nature. And, you know, then you create that relationship and now they've got your money, you've sent it overseas, and then you don't get it back.
You know, I was looking at the list, and romance scams was not one of the top numbers of people who fell for it, but it was probably the top money that they fell for. They were like 3 or 4. It was like $400,000.
Top
or
amount
something.
loss.
Top
yeah.
amount. It's crazy, that amount of money. And with that scam, well, that's a hard one because it plays on a lot of feelings and emotions.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
And people don't want to talk to their kids about things like this.
They're ashamed.
So that's I think that's another thing that if you're listening to this right now, I think, and you've got a family or you know someone who's a senior, or, you know, maybe not even a senior, a parent, a grandparent, relative, you may want to keep in touch with them and talk about the things that they're doing, you know, and maybe, you know, kind of, it's a hard thing to do, but how you spending your money and kind of keep an eye on those things and just kind of have those people in your lives so you kind of know what's going on with them and you kind of get some signals about what's happening, you know.
Absolutely.
I think under that. All right, what else we have going on here? What other things I know you've got a few things here that I haven't hit on. Other scams or other things people should be aware of? If not, I'll go into some other things, but I think I see a lot of highlighting over there, Jasmine.
Yeah, lots of, Hinge and WhatsApp and asking them to get money from a coin metro. Like I said, a lot of those romance scams are not, it's not even just, romance anymore. They want cryptocurrency. Before we were just, sending money to offshore accounts, but now they're having you go through these extra hoops so it's less traceable for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever watched the TV show Catfished, but I've seen a couple of those episodes where
I love that show.
They'll have they'll have like somebody that catfished them and it ends up being a scam and they ask for money for them to be sent to wherever the person lives. I need money so I can come visit you. I need money for my plane trip. I need money to be able to afford to come see you because we're, dating and we've been talking exclusively, but you've never seen the person online.
Well, that's what's so interesting about that scam, though, is because it takes so long for the scam to be executed, right? Because you have to create that relationship, build the trust, which sometimes takes weeks and months. And this is an investment opportunity for our future. And, do this because this is going to be what makes us able to live in the same country because they live on the other side of the world, right?
Yep.
And they've never actually met.
Yep. And they never will do FaceTime.
No Skype,
if you,
no Zoom.
No Skype, no Zoom.
Like
Anytime
the
you
employment
ask them,
thing, they don't talk, they don't see them.
You can't see them in person, and they're always asking for something in return,
even
though there's no reason for it.
And
so always be aware of that.
If you do get a photo, reverse image search.
Exactly.
Just Google that photo. It's probably not even them either.
No.
Always look for it. I don't know if another story that comes to mind is, have you heard of Risa Tisa before?
No.
So there is a large TikTok story, and this woman
is that the 90 something?
Yep,
okay.
Yeah, and she didn't get necessarily scammed.
You
but
TikTokers.
I know. She got married to this man who was a pathological liar, and he lied about everything.
Wait, got married to him, so saw
Got
him.
married-
I'm sorry,
Saw
the
him.
90-year-old?
Okay.
She was not.
No, it was just a guy the same age as her, but he lied about everything. He said he had an offshore account. She was paying for everything for both of them. She was paying for all the rent and stuff. He actually had no job, or he was in like a very low income job, stuff like that. But you've got to be so careful with who you give your money to, and you got to make sure, like the reverse Google search, she had to do that a lot to find out his lies.
Smart.
It's so smart. You got to use those tactics if you can.
We have all this technology, and rather than us take advantage of us, we need to, do our prerequisites and make sure we're not being scammed.
Yeah, be vigilant.
Yeah.
I saw this really interesting tip on the romance scams.
Yeah.
And it's very humbling because one of the tips was with regards to the picture is keep in mind how attractive the person is, right? And not that we ever want to find ourselves unattractive, right? But you have to really think about, hey, is this
He's a 10 and
model,
I'm a 3.
right?
Yeah.
Like, is this model that's
showing the abs.
yeah,
on the beach. Right.
So it was just really humbling for some people, I think, to really put into perspective, like, consider.
Like, what you're usually dating. Is this just
and it's
GQ guy now in your messages saying, hey.
If a Sports Illustrated model is trying to get with you and you're
every
not
picture is the same.
That's I've seen the ones I've seen, and the one woman before I left journalism that we were going to interview a woman who lost $285,000 this way. She ended up not wanting to go on camera, and I understand that. We were trying to. I told her there's not really, I understand why she might be embarrassed, but so many people think that they will never fall for these scams.
Yep.
I mean, I got that all the time. You get, on one hand, you get people, why aren't you doing more about this one? And I'm thinking, man, I've done so much on that one. And the other people are like, why are you doing so much on that one? Because, you know, who would fall for that? But when you get that call or you're involved in it and they get their hooks into you, then some of those same people come back to me and say, Joe, I got that call. You know, I mean, these are the people who said before, you know,
I would never do that.
I would never do that. Yet he gets a call and now he's concerned because he thinks he's been scammed, you know, because these guys are good. Once they get in, they get you.
Oh my gosh, the imposter scams for the government
Yeah.
agencies demanding that you're
especially
gonna,
during tax season.
Oh yeah, all sorts of government agencies have imposters demanding that they're gonna get arrested if they don't pay this or
Scare them.
yeah.
They always play on your emotions, whether it's like love or fear or like anything. They're constantly
And
playing
these
on your
people
emotions.
are educated.
Oh yeah.
These are smart doctors, lawyers,
Mhm.
business investors, and they get the right letter that triggers them to think that they're being contacted by the
IRS or
IRS, FBI.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think, and we're going to go into this a little bit, just some tips, some things that you guys have learned that maybe you should do to avoid as many scams as you can. And one of those, I think, is taking a step back. Just, you know, not reacting if you can. I know it's tough. You get a call, you get all these things, but we'll go into that. But I think just taking a step back, thinking about things for a while, talking about it, you know, whatever, having them get back to you. I mean, not acting in the moment, I think is one of the big things. Sophie, I know you're not here, so I'm not looking at you but go ahead and anything else you want to add here about other scams you're seeing or...
No, like there is one other one. I say no, and then I say, oh yeah, there is another one here. There is debt collection scams that have been on the rise too. These individuals or these scammers are using predatory tactics, you know, saying that, hey, we're going to come to your home, we're going to serve you papers, you owe us money. You know, we're going to send police to your home to collect, you know, this money. So it's really what I think it was Stephanie who was saying it, playing into their emotions and just instilling that fear in them that something's going to happen. Oh my gosh, they have my address. Somebody's going to show up to my house. When in reality, there's just zero basis behind their claims that they're going to even.
And I know that there are rules about debt collectors and what they can do, the laws about how they can only contact you at certain times. Mm-hmm. And a lot of this debt, after a period of time, goes away.
And how do they find the victims? Like, how do they find the people that they're going to come after? Like, how do they know that they're in trouble with debt collectors? How do they know, let's say that they, like, how do they target people? Because I think some of these scams are pretty specific. Like my grandmother.
Data brokers.
Yeah, like my grandma got a phone call, and it was a scammer saying that she was her grandson and that he was in the hospital and he needed money to get out of the hospital.
Grandparent scam.
Yeah, and he was scared and like needed help from her. And of course that's terrifying. But how did they know that she's a grandmother? How did they know that she even has a grandchild? Like how do they script it so specifically?
Also leads into being mindful, you know, of the things you post online and the questions. I know a lot of the time they'll be like, oh, I bet you don't remember what middle school you went to. Nobody remembers their grandma's maiden name. Like, these are security questions, guys. You don't want to answer these online. Like, your favorite color, your high school mascot. Be mindful of these things because people can take them and then get into your information. And now they know where your grandma lives. Your grandma has 3 grandchildren.
Yeah, has her phone number
That's
out of nowhere.
Really, really good advice. One other thing I was saying, the grandparent scam. I don't know how they initially know, but I do know they usually get the name from the person.
Yeah.
Hi, this is your grandson. Willie, is that you?
Yeah.
It's Willie. And so you got to think about
play on.
And I think there's like a family word that we came up with. We've forgotten it already.
Yeah.
But it was going to be our word that we had to say to make sure
Everybody
that it is
should
your
have
family member,
Yeah,
not
and
something else.
That's the education of it. Like always asking questions if somebody's calling you that you don't recognize, and then also having like a word that triggers for you, knowing that that's not the person you're talking to.
You were going to say debt collection. Going back to that, I also know that if it's a scam, out and out scam, that's one thing. If it's a debt collection business doing things wrongly, I I know that debt collectors buy bad old debts that can't be collected, and these are the ones that take like pennies on the dollar.
Right.
So they get these names that way and still try to collect, even though they may be out of the time when they should do it. A lot of people are still probably going to pay that.
Right.
So I think you also need to be, really cognizant of, you may not owe that debt anymore. I mean, I say people need to pay their bills, okay?
Yeah.
But if it comes down to like 7 years or something, I think it's with credit card debt. I think
Your statute of limitations. Check your credit. Keep an eye on your credit. You
Yeah.
know, like you said, make sure you have somebody who's watching you, especially if they're older. Like, what purchases are you making? You know,
Yep.
what is your average amount you're spending on groceries? You know, just things like that.
And what information is public knowledge too? If you know what stuff is public knowledge, then you can know what kind of scams are going to come your way.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, we talked about the scams. Let's go around and just talk about, maybe give some advice to people who we talked about specific scams, but generally, I think ways that we can avoid as many as possible. Okay, I don't know who wants to start.
Do your research. Go slow. Do your research. Search the number that called you. Search the business name that they're claiming to come from. Don't act quickly, but I think research. Research is the biggest thing, in my opinion.
Good.
I agree with Michelle. Any pre-purchase decisions, just call us. Even if you don't find anything on Google, we can still check. Even if we need to just let you know, we didn't pull up anything, but make sure if you're uneasy, get those second opinions. And BBB is here to help you with that.
All right. I don't know if you have one.
Always ask questions. Constantly ask questions of why things are done the way they are, why they're asking for certain things. And then, yeah, of course, always go back to BBB. They're here for you.
All right. Sophie, you have one?
Yeah, and to piggyback off of all of that, be mindful of gift card purchasing. If you're on the phone with somebody that's looking into your computer or something, and they're asking for payment in like a Google gift card or Apple Music gift card or something like that, watch out for the signs that it could be a scam, and do the research and ask questions revolving around that.
That's great. I'm going to add a few, and a lot of people won't obey this, but but I say, from what we've seen, don't answer a phone call if there's no ID. In other words, if you haven't put them in as a contact, don't answer the phone call. It'll go to voicemail. You'll be fine.
Yep.
I also say, don't click on links in emails. Don't click on it. Even if it looks like it's coming from Bank of America and you're a Bank of America customer, if it says, oh, you did this, whatever, go to your Bank of America account, get in it, and find out if there's an issue. Or call Bank of America. Not at the number in the email, but at the number is correct.
And
Good
text messages.
Yes.
They do that on text messages
And text
too.
messages, too. I think you guys talked about gift cards, always scams if you're asked to be paid in that, because they take that number and it becomes cash, basically. And big checks for nothing we talked about. Always scams there, too.
And Zelle. Like, try to stay away from Zelle, Venmo, unless you have them as a friend on your account.
Yeah.
I would not trust that.
Adios to your money.
Yeah, adios to your money. Guys, it's been great. Michelle Morin, Jasmine Hill, Stephanie Tuttle here, Sophie Simpson. Thanks for being with us in San Diego. These people, guys, are really the people who, with the Better Business Bureau, who go through a lot of these complaints and find out what's going on and try to help people with the businesses. And so you can go to bbb.org anytime to review businesses before you hire. And unfortunately, if you have a problem afterwards, you can complain about a business as well, and that becomes part of the review that other people can see. So thanks, guys, for being here. We'll do this again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm Joe Ducey. This is Joe Knows Better, and we're helping businesses and consumers get it right. We'll see you next time. Before hiring, go to bbb.org, check reviews, and for accredited businesses that agree to operate ethically. And see all my podcasted videos, joeknowsbetter.bbbcommunity.org.